The massive alien ship floated in the darkness of space like a mountain made of glass. Its name was the Infinite Horizon, and it belonged to the Galactic Council. Inside this ship, hundreds of different alien species had gathered to watch something very important happen. Ambassador Verthel walked through the long hallways of the ship. He was a tall creature with gray skin and 4 eyes that blinked one after another. His people, the Kelani, had been part of the Galactic Council for thousands of years. They had seen many things, but today was different. Today, they would meet the humans. Verthel had read everything about Earth. He had studied the reports, watched the videos, and talked to the scientists who had first discovered this strange little planet. What he learned made him feel both curious and afraid that Earth was what the Council called a death world. This meant it was one of the most dangerous places in the entire galaxy where life could exist. The gravity was heavy. The weather was violent. Volcanoes erupted without warning. The ground itself would shake and crack open. Diseases spread through the air. And worst of all, almost every living thing on that planet spent its entire life trying to eat other living things. Most species would have died on such a world. They would have gone extinct before they ever became intelligent. But humans had not only survived on Earth, they had become the dominant species. They had built cities, created technology, and eventually reached into space. This made many council members nervous. A species tough enough to survive a death world might be too dangerous to allow into the galactic community. That was why humans had to take the test. Verthel arrived at Docking Bay 7 just as the human ship connected to the Infinite Horizon. The doors opened with a soft hiss, and 5 humans walked out. Their leader was a woman with dark hair and brown eyes. She moved with confidence, like she belonged here, even though she was standing on an alien ship millions of miles from her home. Her name was Lisa Monroe, and she was the captain of the human exploration vessel called the Wanderer. Behind her stood 4 other humans. There was a tall man named Daniel Webb, who served as her second in command. He had a friendly face and an easy smile that seemed strange in such a serious moment. Next to him was a shorter woman named Kelly Briggs. She had sharp eyes that never stopped moving, always watching for danger. She was in charge of security. The last 2 were Samuel Price, a thin man with glasses who studied science, and Maria Delgado, a young woman who handled communications with other ships and species. 5 humans. 5 representatives of a species that had conquered death itself. Just by refusing to die. Captain Monroe stepped forward and held out her hand. Verthel had read about this human greeting, so he reached out and took her hand carefully. Her skin was surprisingly warm. Humans ran hotter than most species, with body temperatures that would be uncomfortable for many aliens. "Ambassador Verthel," she said, "thank you for having us aboard. Your invitation was interesting, but it did not explain very much. Something about a test that will decide if humanity can join your council?" "Yes," Verthel said. "Please follow me. I will explain everything." He led the humans through the ship to a circular room in the center. Holographic images floated in the air, showing maps of the galaxy and information about different species. In the middle of the room sat a small table, and on that table was a black sphere about the size of a human head. "For more than 10,000 years, Verthel began, the Galactic Council has kept peace among the stars. We have welcomed many species into our group. We share knowledge, resources, and the benefits of working together. But we do not let just anyone join." Commander Webb crossed his arms. "There is a catch. Every species must pass the test." Verthel pointed at the black sphere. This device was made by the architects. They were an ancient species who created the Council long ago, before they left our universe entirely. This sphere can read the true nature of any being who touches it. It creates a special situation designed to show what that species is really like deep inside. Captain Monroe looked at the sphere with interest. What happens if a species fails? Then they are not allowed to join the council. They must stay in their own star system until they change enough to try again. Verthel paused. The waiting time is usually thousands of years. Dr. Price adjusted his glasses. What does the test actually involve? What do we have to do? That changes depending on the species. The sphere reads your nature and creates a challenge based on what it finds. Verthel looked at Captain Monroe with all four of his eyes. I must be honest with you. In 10,000 years, every single species has failed the test on their first try. Every one. My people, the Kelani, failed. The Vorthax failed. Even the Luminari, who are considered the wisest beings in the galaxy, needed 3 tries before they passed. Lieutenant Briggs frowned. Sounds like the game is rigged against us. The test is not meant to be easy. It is meant to find the truth. Verthel moved closer to the table with the sphere. The Council has been watching humanity since we discovered your planet. Your species is very unusual. You came from a world that should have killed you. You became intelligent not even though your world was dangerous, but because it was dangerous. Some of my colleagues think this makes humans the most dangerous species we have ever found. What do you think? Captain Monroe asked. Verthel thought about his answer. I think that dangerous and useful are sometimes the same thing. But I also think the test will show us which one humanity really is. He touched a button, and the black sphere began to glow with a soft inner light. Captain Monroe, when you are ready, simply put your hand on the sphere. The test will begin, and the future of your species will be decided. The 5 humans looked at each other. Something passed between them without words. Then Captain Monroe smiled. It was a strange smile, the kind that showed she was not afraid. The kind that showed she was actually looking forward to whatever came next. Well, she said, rolling her shoulders like she was getting ready for a fight. Let us see what the universe has for us. She put her hand on the sphere, and everything disappeared in a flash of blinding light. When the light faded, Lisa found herself standing in a place that was completely white. There were no walls, no floor that she could see, no ceiling above her. Just endless white in every direction. Her crew was gone. She was alone. Then a figure appeared in front of her dot. It looked like a person, but it was made of shifting light and shadow. Its shape kept changing, never staying the same for more than a moment. It was as if someone had tried to make a being out of pure thought without deciding what that being should look like. Remarkable, the figure said. Its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. In 10,000 years, no species has ever rejected the scenario so quickly or so completely. Lisa kept herself calm, even though her heart was beating fast. You are the architects, or what is left of them. We are the echo of their purpose, yes. The test was made to see species at their most basic level. The nightmare situation takes away all pretending and forces beings to face their deepest instincts. The figure tilted its head like a curious bird. Most species take hours, sometimes days, to work through the fake situation. They suffer over the choice. They tried different plans. In the end, they always fall into one of the failure states. Aggression, giving up, losing hope. What happens to them? They are shown the truth of what they chose. They are made to understand how their instincts would lead them in moments of real danger. Then they are sent back to their people with the knowledge that they are not yet ready to join the galactic community. Lisa nodded slowly. But we passed. You. The figure paused. Lisa got the feeling that she had surprised it, which should have been impossible. You did not just pass. You went completely beyond what the test was designed to measure. The scenario was built to give 3 choices, and all 3 led to failure. You chose a fourth option that was not supposed to exist. With respect, Lisa said, that is kind of what we do. The figure moved closer. Its form rippled with what might have been curiosity. Explain. Humans grew up on a world that tried to kill us every single day. Our planet has ice ages that cover everything in frozen death. It has huge volcanoes that can block out the sun. Giant rocks fall from space and crash into us. Diseases spread and kill millions of people. And our food chain includes animals that evolved specifically to hunt us and eat us. She began to walk back and forth, energy flowing through her as she spoke. We should have died out 1,000 times. But we did not. And the reason we did not is because we learned that staying alive depends on changing. On being flexible. On trying new things when old things stop working. She turned to face the figure directly. You ask how you can trust a species that does not follow the rules. I will tell you. You can trust us because we understand that rules exist to help, not to be followed without thinking. When the rules work, we follow them. When they do not work, we make better ones. That is not being unpredictable. That is being smart. The figure was quiet for a long moment. Your species is dangerous, it said finally. Yes, we are, Lisa agreed. But dangerous does not mean evil. A knife is dangerous, but it can be used to cook food and save lives. Fire is dangerous, but it keeps people warm in winter. The question is not whether we can cause harm. Every intelligent species can cause harm. The question is what we choose to do with that ability. And what does humanity choose? Lisa thought about her answer carefully. This was important. This might be the most important thing she ever said. We are still figuring that out, to be honest. We have made mistakes. Terrible ones. We have hurt each other. We have hurt our own world. We have almost destroyed ourselves more times than I can count. But we keep trying to be better. We keep reaching for something higher. And when we meet other species out here in space, most of us want to learn from them. We want to grow with them. We want to build something together that none of us could build alone. She met the figure's shifting gaze without fear. You asked what humanity is. We are chaos and order at the same time. We are destruction and creation in the same package. We are fear and hope living side by side. We are the species that crawled out of the mud and reached for the stars. We will make mistakes, probably a lot of them. But we will also do things that will amaze you. The white space around them began to change. Colors started appearing at the edges, spreading inward. The architects created the test to find species worthy of joining the galactic community, the figure said. For 10,000 years, we have looked for beings who could face the worst parts of themselves and choose something better. Species who would not break when pushed to their limits, but would bend. Species who could find hope when everything seemed hopeless. Species who would reject false choices and create new paths. The colors became clearer. Lisa could see stars now, and the shape of her ship floating among them. Humanity is different from any species we have ever met. You are more dangerous than the Kalani. You are more unpredictable than the Vorthax. You are tougher than the Luminari. You are, in many ways, exactly what the Council has always been afraid of. Lisa prepared herself for bad news. You are also, the figure continued, exactly what we have been waiting for. The white space disappeared completely. Lisa felt herself falling through light and color and sound. The last thing she heard was the figure's voice, speaking words that would change everything. Welcome to the stars, humanity. Try not to break too many things. The light swallowed everything. When Captain Lisa Monroe opened her eyes again, she was no longer on the alien ship. She was standing on the bridge of her own vessel, the Wanderer. But something was very wrong. Red emergency lights filled the room with a blood-colored glow. Alarm sounds screamed from every direction. Through the front window, she could see a planet. It was Earth, her home, and it was burning. Huge fires covered entire continents. Smoke rose from where cities used to be. The blue oceans had turned gray with ash. Even from space, she could see that her world was dying. "Report!" She shouted, her training taking over before her mind could catch up. Commander Webb was at the weapons station. His face was pale and his hands were shaking. "Captain, we are the last ship. The Galactic Council fleet destroyed everything else. All of Earth's defenses are gone. 14 billion people are dead on the surface." Lieutenant Briggs looked up from her station. "They are calling us, Captain. They want us to surrender. Show me." The screen flickered and Ambassador Verthel appeared. But he looked different. His face showed cruel pleasure. His eyes were cold and hard. This was not the same alien who had greeted them on the infinite horizon. This Verthel was a monster. "Captain Monroe," he said, "you are the last of human resistance. Your species chose to fight against the Council, and now you see what happens to those who defy us. Give up now, and we will let the survivors on Earth live. Fight us, and we will finish killing everyone." Lisa felt her heart break into a million pieces. 14 billion people. Her mother, her father, her little sister, her friends from school, everyone she had ever known or loved. All dead, all gone. Because the Council had decided humans were too dangerous to live. And now this creature was giving her a choice that was not really a choice at all. "Captain," Dr. Price said quietly from his station, "I have been studying their weapon systems. They can destroy what is left of Earth in one shot. But we still have one special torpedo left. If we hit their main ship in the right place, it would blow up. The explosion would destroy their entire fleet. But we would die too," Ensign Delgado said. Her voice was shaking with fear and grief. "It would be a suicide attack." "It is worse than that," Webb added. He pulled up information on his screen. "Even if we destroy this fleet, more ships will come within hours. Earth would still have no protection. We would kill ourselves and a few thousand of them, and it would change nothing. Then we should surrender," Delgado said. "Save whoever is still alive down there." "No." Briggs shook her head hard. "You have not seen what the Council does to species they defeat. They turn them into slaves. Or worse. Death would be kinder than what they would do to our people." Lisa stared at the screen. Verthel's smug face stared back at her, waiting for her answer. She felt rage building inside her chest. It was not fair. None of this was fair. The universe had no right to put her in this position. Attack and die for nothing. Surrender and watch her people suffer forever. Do nothing and let everyone be killed anyway. Every choice was wrong. Every door led to darkness. There was no way out. She closed her eyes. And then she laughed. It started small, just a little sound in the back of her throat. But it grew. It became a real laugh, full and strong. The bridge crew stared at her like she had gone crazy. "Captain?" Webb asked carefully. "Are you okay?" Lisa opened her eyes. The rage was still there, but now something else was there too. Understanding, recognition. She knew what was happening. "This is not real," she said. "What do you mean?" "Think about it, Daniel. We were just on the infinite horizon. We touched a sphere that was supposed to test us. And now suddenly we are in the middle of humanity's worst nightmare?" She pointed at the screen. "This is the test. It has to be." On the screen, Verthel's expression flickered for just a moment. "Captain Monroe, I promise you this is no." Lisa stepped forward with complete certainty in her voice. "This situation is designed to break us. To make us choose between giving up, attacking in anger, or begging for mercy. It wants to see if we will fall apart when things seem impossible." She smiled, and it was the smile of someone who had seen the trap and refused to step in it. But that is not who we are. Dr. Price understood first. Of course, a test of character hidden inside an impossible situation. If we attack, we show aggression. If we surrender, we show weakness. If we give up hope, we show that we are unstable. So, what do? Delgado asked. Lisa turned to face her crew. Her people. Her family. We do what humans have always done when the universe puts us in an impossible situation. We refuse to accept the rules. She faced the screen again. I know you are watching, Ambassador. The real ambassador. This situation is fake, but our choice is real. So here it is. We refuse to play. Not because we are afraid to die. Not because we think we will win. But because every option you gave us is designed to make us show our worst side. And we are better than that. The fake Verthal said nothing. Humanity did not survive a death world by giving up when things got hard. We did not reach the stars by believing that some problems cannot be solved. And we did not get this far by letting anyone else tell us what is possible. Lisa's voice rang through the bridge. You want to know what humanity is? We are the species that looks at the word impossible and sees it as a challenge. We are the ones who, when told we cannot win, ask who gets to decide what winning means. She took a deep breath. So no, we will not attack in pointless anger. We will not surrender to evil. We will not lose hope just because things look bad. Instead, we will do what every generation of humans has done since we first looked up at the sky and wondered what was out there. She spread her arms wide. We will find another way. The bridge dissolved into light once more. Lisa gasped as the real world came rushing back. She was standing in the crystal room of the infinite horizon again. Her hand was still touching the black sphere. Around her, the rest of her crew was blinking and shaking their heads like they had just woken up from a dream. What happened? Commander Webb asked. I was on the bridge, and then everything. We all were, Lieutenant Briggs said, rubbing her forehead. It felt like it went on for hours. It was hours, Dr. Price said, looking at his watch. At least, that is what it felt like. But according to this, only 7 minutes have passed in real time. Ensign Delgado looked at Lisa with wide eyes. Captain, did we pass? Did we do it? Before Lisa could answer, Ambassador Vartal stepped forward. His 4 eyes were open wider than Lisa had ever seen them. He moved quickly, almost stumbling over his ceremonial robes in his hurry. Captain Monroe, he said. His voice held something new. It took Lisa a moment to recognize it. It was all. The test is complete. The results have been sent to the Council, and Verthal looked at a floating screen of information. He read it twice, as if he could not believe what it said. In 10,000 years, no species has ever received this result. The Architect's device has declared humanity not just good enough for joining the galaxy. It has declared you. He paused, struggling with the words. Exemplary. The word hung in the air like a star being born. What does that mean exactly? Webb asked. It means humanity has been given full membership in the Galactic Council. All the rights. All the benefits. Everything. Verthal turned to face Lisa directly. It also means the Council has been told that a species has gone beyond the test itself. Something that was not thought to be possible. How are they taking that news? Lisa asked. The reactions are different for each species. The Kelani are curious. The Vorthax are worried. The Luminari are. Varthal's mouth twisted into something that might have been a smile. They are laughing. They say they thought something like this would happen. Dr. Price pushed his glasses up on his nose. They thought humans would pass? They thought humans would do something nobody expected. The Luminari are very good at seeing patterns. They saw something in your species that suggested you would surprise everyone. Verthel stood up straighter, becoming more formal. Captain Monroe, I have been given permission to invite you somewhere special. The Galactic Council wants to meet humanity in person. Not to judge you this time, just to meet you. Lisa looked at her crew. Webb was grinning so wide it looked like his face might split. Briggs had her arms crossed, but there was satisfaction in her eyes. Price was already thinking about all the scientific discoveries waiting for them. Delgado looked like she might start crying from happiness. Tell the council we would be honored, Lisa said. But also tell them this. Humanity is not interested in being treated like children who need protection. We want to sit at the table as equals. We want to give what we can and learn what we do not know. We are not here to be managed. We are here to be part of something bigger than just us. Verthel bowed low. It was a sign of great respect in his culture. I believe that is exactly what the council hopes to hear. As the ambassador walked away to send the message, Webb came to stand beside Lisa. His voice was quiet so only she could hear. You know they are going to watch us now. Everything we do, every choice we make, every mistake. Let them watch, Lisa said. We have never claimed to be perfect, but we have also never stopped trying to be better. If that is not good enough for them, then maybe they are not ready for us. And if some of them decide we are too dangerous, if they try to stop us, Lisa smiled. It was the same smile she had worn when she first touched the sphere. The smile of someone who looked at problems and saw puzzles waiting to be solved. Then we will handle that the same way we handle everything else. Together, with creativity, and with absolutely no respect for what is supposed to be impossible. The next few weeks passed in a blur of preparation. The human delegation grew from 5 people to 50. Scientists, diplomats, cultural experts, and military advisors all came aboard the Wanderer. For the journey to the Council's capital world, Lisa spent most of her time reading about the species they would meet. There were the Kelani, with their 4 eyes and their love of formal rules. There were the Vorthax, massive creatures who valued strength above all else. There were the Luminari, beings of pure light who existed in multiple dimensions at once, and were said to be the wisest species in the galaxy, and there were hundreds of others. Species that breathed methane instead of oxygen. Species that communicated through color changes in their skin. Species that lived for thousands of years and species that lived for only a few months. The galaxy was more diverse than Lisa had ever imagined, but one thing connected all of them. Every single species had failed the test on their first try. Every single one had fallen into one of the 3 traps: aggression, surrender, or despair. Until humanity. The night before they were scheduled to arrive at the council capital, Lisa stood alone in the observation deck of the Wanderer. Stars filled the window in front of her, billions of points of light that represented billions of possibilities. Verthel found her there. He moved quietly for such a large being. Cannot sleep? He asked. Too much to think about, Lisa admitted. Tomorrow we represent all of humanity. 8 billion people are counting on us to not mess this up. 14 billion, actually. Your colony worlds have grown since your last census. Lisa laughed. Even worse. Verthel came to stand beside her, looking out at the same stars. Can I tell you something, Captain Monroe? Something that might help you feel better? Please. When my people took the test, we failed because we attacked. We saw the impossible situation and responded with violence. It took us 3,000 years to try again, and another 2,000 to finally pass. He turned to look at her with all 4 eyes. In all that time, we learned something important. The galaxy does not need species who always make the right choice. It needs species who keep trying to make better choices. Lisa considered his words. You think humanity will make mistakes. I think humanity will make spectacular mistakes. Mistakes that will be talked about for thousands of years. Mistakes that will change the shape of galactic politics and rewrite the rules of how species interact. Verthil made a sound that his translator marked as gentle humor. I also think humanity will do spectacular good. The kind of good that makes the mistakes worth it. That sounds like a lot of faith in a species you just met. It is not faith, Verthil said. It is observation. I have studied your history. I have seen how you treat each other, how you treat your world, how you treat the unknown. You are messy. You are contradictory. You fight among yourselves about things that seem obvious to outside observers. He paused. You are also the only species I have ever seen that will rush into a burning building to save a stranger. That will give food to an enemy who is hungry. That will stand up against impossible odds, not because you think you will win, but because you believe some things are worth fighting for even if you lose. Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes. She blinked them away. Thank you, Ambassador. That means more than you know. Get some sleep, Captain. Tomorrow you introduce humanity to the galaxy. Verthil started to walk away, then stopped. Oh, and one more thing. The Luminari have a betting pool on how long it will take humanity to accidentally cause a major diplomatic incident. The current favorite is 3 days. Lisa laughed out loud. Tell them to put me down for 2. 6 months had passed since humanity touched the black sphere and changed everything. Captain. Lisa Monroe stood in the great hall of the Galactic Council. The room was enormous, bigger than any building on Earth. It was shaped like a bowl, with seats rising up on all sides. In those seats sat representatives from more than 100 different species. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some glowed with inner light. A few did not seem to have physical bodies at all. And they were all looking at her. Behind Lisa stood her delegation. Webb, Briggs, Price, Delgado, and dozens of other humans who had been chosen to represent their species. They wore simple blue uniforms, all the same, to show that humanity spoke with one voice, even though they came from many different nations and backgrounds. The Luminari Archon called for silence. The Archon was a being made of crystal and light, beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from inside Lisa's own head. We gathered today to formally welcome humanity into the Galactic Council. Their passage through the Architect's test has been confirmed. They have shown the qualities needed to join us. Whispers rippled through the hall. Lisa heard fragments through her translator. Some aliens were curious. Some were impressed. Some were afraid. However, the Archon continued, there are concerns that must be addressed. Ambassador Verthil, please speak. Verthil rose from the Kelani section. His 4 eyes swept across the room before settling on Lisa. The Council recognizes humanity's achievement, but many species are worried. Humans did not simply pass the test. They broke the test. They found a way around rules that have existed for 10,000 years. He spread his hands. If humans can do this to the test, what else might they do? A harsh voice interrupted. It belonged to a massive creature that looked like a mix between a rhinoceros and a spider. This was a Vorthax, one of the species most worried about humanity. The Vorthax want to know how we can trust a species that refuses to follow rules. If humans reject the rules of the test, they might reject all rules. They might reject the laws that keep peace among the stars. Lisa had expected this. She had prepared for it. She stepped forward and spoke clearly so her words would carry to every corner of the hall. That is a fair question. I will give you a fair answer. She activated the display in the center of the room. Images appeared in the air. They showed Earth's history, from the first simple creatures in the ocean to the cities and spaceships of modern humanity. Humans evolved on a world that tried to kill us constantly, not just through dangerous animals or disease. Our entire planet was hostile to life. Ice ages covered the world in frozen death. Volcanoes blocked the sun for years. Rocks from space crashed into us and wiped out most living things. Our weather can go from calm to deadly in minutes. The images showed early humans huddling in caves, fighting off predators, struggling to survive against impossible odds. We should have died. We should have gone extinct before we ever became intelligent. But we did not. And the reason we did not is because we learned something important. When the rules of the game mean you lose, you change the rules. She turned to face the Vorthax directly. The creature was 3 times her size and could probably kill her with one swipe of its massive claws. She did not back down. You ask how you can trust a species that does not follow established rules. Here is my answer. You can trust us because we understand that rules are tools, not gods. When rules help people, we follow them. When rules hurt people, we change them. That is not being dangerous. That is being wise. The Luminary Archon pulsed with interest. You suggest that breaking rules is actually a form of wisdom. I suggest that every species in this room got here by breaking rules. You all defied gravity when you built ships that could fly. You broke the speed of light when you developed faster than light travel. You beat death itself when you created medicines that let your people live longer. Lisa spread her arms to include everyone in the hall. The universe has rules that say civilization should not exist. That intelligence is too expensive to survive. That the distances between stars are too great to cross. You broke every single one of those rules to be here today. Humanity just applies the same thinking to more things. Silence fell over the chamber. Lisa could feel 100 different gazes on her, judging her words. Finally, Ambassador Vorthul spoke again. When I first learned about humanity, I expected savages. Dangerous animals who had somehow built spaceships without becoming civilized. What I found was something much more interesting. He stood and addressed the full council. Humans are dangerous. They are unpredictable. They are stubborn. They refuse to accept defeat, even when defeat is certain. They are also kind, creative, and capable of amazing growth. They are exactly what they appear to be. A species that turned a death sentence into an origin story. He looked at Lisa. I support humanity joining the council, not because they are safe, but because they are necessary. The galaxy has become too comfortable. We solve new problems with old answers. Humanity represents something we have not had in a long time. Something truly new. The vote was called. One by one, each species declared their position. Some voted against. The Vorthax and a few others who could not get past their fear of the unknown. But most voted in favor. They saw something in humanity that made them willing to take a chance. When the final count was announced, Lisa felt her shoulders relax for the first time in months. Around her, the human delegation celebrated quietly. They were too professional to cheer, but smiles broke out on every face. The Archon spoke one final time. The vote is complete. Humanity is now a full member of the Galactic Council. May your species help us all grow wiser and stronger. Lisa bowed in the way she had been taught. We will do our best. Later, after the formal ceremony ended, Ambassador Vorthul found Lisa at one of the great windows that looked out on the stars. Captain Monroe. May I speak with you? Of course, Ambassador. They stood together in silence for a moment, watching the distant lights of 1,000,000,000,000 stars. I have studied many species, Vorthul said at last. I have watched empires rise and fall. I have seen beings of pure thought wrestle with the same questions that trouble creatures of flesh and blood. In all that time, I have learned one thing about the universe. What is that? The universe is not cruel. It is simply uncaring. It does not hate us or love us. It just exists, following its own rules, not concerned with whether we survive or die. He turned his 4 eyes to meet her too. Most species, when they realize this, either give up or become angry. They see the uncaring universe and they despair, or they shake their fists at the sky and demand that reality change. And humans? Humans laughed. Varthel made the sound his translator marked as wonder. You looked at a universe that did not care if you lived or died, and instead of giving up or getting angry, you laughed. You said, "Fine, the universe does not care about us. We will care about ourselves. We will make our own meaning. We will build our own purpose." And then you did exactly that. Lisa thought about his words. I suppose we did. Do you know what the architect's test really measures? I assumed it was some combination of wisdom and self-control. In a way. But more specifically, it measures how a species relates to existence itself. Do they accept reality as it is? Do they rage against its unfairness? Do they surrender to its indifference? Verthel put his hand on her shoulder. It was a gesture of great friendship in his culture. Humanity looked at an uncaring universe full of impossible obstacles and responded with stubborn hope. You took the universe's indifference and made it not matter through pure strength of will. That sounds like a compliment. It is the highest praise my people can give. Verthel stepped back and bowed. Welcome to the stars, Captain Monroe. I think the galaxy will never be the same. Lisa looked out at the countless points of light. Each one was a sun. Many of them had planets. Some of those planets had life. And now humanity would get to meet all of them. Learn from them. Grow with them. Maybe even teach them a few things. A smile spread across her face. It was the smile of a woman who had looked at the impossible and refused to be impressed. That is the plan, Ambassador, she said. That has always been the plan. Behind her, the other humans were gathering, getting ready for whatever came next. New friends to make. New challenges to face. New impossibilities to overcome. Just another day for a species. Born on a death world. Just another day for humanity. And somewhere out among the stars. The echo of the architects watched with something that might have been approval. They had created the test to find species worthy of greatness. After 10,000 years of waiting, they had finally found one. They could not wait to see what happened next.